One day, we was with Floyd, me and my dad. Floyd was like, oh, AB got this guy, he want to spar you, he your size. I'm like, what's his name? He like, Gervonta Davis. He like, is he good? I'm like, yeah, he good. But mind you, when I went to Baltimore, he touched me up, so I'm thinking like, yeah, he good. That's when we sparred, and it was doghouse rules, fight to the finish, first person to stop loses, and as my dad would say, we left with the cash.
I left with the cash.
We left with the cash.
Oh, so it was money bet.
Absolutely.
And you know, when you win in a sparring match, it got to be clear because it ain't no winners in sparring.
Right.
So
And I'm gonna tell you who I won the money. I won the money from. It ain't no suck. It's AB Daddy and Lee. What's Lee?
Coach Levi.
Coach Levi. And AB's father.
And I know it was recorded, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Floyd got the recording, and this reporter named Ellie Seckbeck. He got every time
Ellie Seckbeck reporting.
Every time we asked Ellie
recording.
Every time we asked him where the footage at, he talking about, it's in his phone. But you know, he take man, so that's why he hiding the footage or whatever.
So
I want the real fight.
Was it?
I want to make it happen.
Because that doghouse shit
first
is
person
brutal.
to quit. First person to quit.
Oh, Tank, you quit?
He was the first person to quit.
I'm up here holding shit down and you quit, Tank? The fuck is going?
I just told you we got some money on it, man. This shit is for real.
Oh, wow. When it came to doghouse rules, Devin Haney and his pops, Bill Haney, claimed that Gervonta Tank Davis was no match for that session, and they made him quit in a recent interview. We're going to talk about that. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, y'all know what to do. Hit the bell icon. Now, you guys heard an excerpt. Make sure you check out Gilly the Kid, $1 million worth of game. Right. Coming on tonight, they interviewed with Devin Haney, you know, boxing lightweight WBC champion, Otherworld, and his pops, right? Bill Haney. And you guys heard it. Devin Haney says that he had sparred with Tank Davis for an additional time. And this particular session, he says he wasn't even equipped or prepared to spar. He said he was just kicking it with Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd said, hey, I got a guy. And he said, what's his name? He said, Gervonta Tank Davis. And he said, little did Floyd know that he already had experience with Tank Davis and they had already sparred before. And he's like, yeah, okay, he's good. And then he said Bill Haney went to get some money and get Devin's gym attire and his gym bag because they had no intentions of sparring that particular day, but put on the spot, you know, all the spotlight, all the people in the gym. And it sounded like there was a variety of people in the gym that day because in this interview, they said Ellie was there reporting, right? They said that AB was there, or at least AB's pops and some other people as interested spectators. Now, what Devin Haney continues to go on and say is basically that he got the best of it. It was doghouse rules, which we know the infamous Mayweather Gym, Las Vegas, Nevada, doghouse rules, unlimited rounds, you know, real Roman gladiator stuff we're talking about. Make sure you guys also like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell notification icon for the latest and greatest. Happy New Year's to everybody as well. And let's proceed. So Devin Haney says initially he had no intentions of even sparring or getting a workout in, but put on the spot, he said he sparred with Tank and they got the best of it. And you hear Gilly the Kid, right? And Wallow, and he's like, damn, Tank, you quit? Oh man, I'm going to bet for you, you quit. So they're alleging that Tank quit in the sparring. I want to give my thoughts on the whole matter. Listen, for starters, I know Devin, know Tank, both great dudes. So I don't do the whole size. I'm not picking size and all that. I wasn't there for the sparring. So this is just a retelling of what happened, but I didn't see it with my own eyes. Could have happened, you know, but I'm also been in the game and seasoned enough to know that what happens in sparring, you know, it's not always an indication of, you know, what would happen in a pro fight. You know, Lucien Boutte and Jean Pascal fought as professionals, but they also had previously sparred. And at the time, from what I heard, Lucien Bute used to give it to Jean Pascal in sparring session. But when they fought, at the time that they fought after the Carl Froch knockout, Lucien Bute, he was getting beat up by Jean Pascal. So, you know, there's just different dynamics. You also have to factor in, like, I've been in the gyms, and, you know, I stay, when we're not in a pandemic, I stay in boxing gyms and at the fights and stuff like that. So sometimes guys are fresh and the other guy isn't. Sometimes a guy may have sparred 3-4 people ahead of you, and then he gets to you and he's already kind of tired, and you come in there 100% fresh. You know, things like that happen. So I don't really know what happened in the sparring, but I'm just making the video so you guys can hear the latest and greatest of what's being said. It's not an indication of what would happen. You know, both guys have, I'm sure, matured and progressed since whenever they sparred, you know, but these sparring stories become infamous. We heard about Shakur Stevenson through his sparring with Gervonta Tank Davis. And I think all these guys respect Gervonta Tank Davis as well, because he's almost, if people do good in sparring versus a certain person, you know, it almost becomes legend, you know, like, oh, Errol Spence and Floyd Mayweather. They said Errol Spence was giving Floyd some trouble. So, you know, that's how we started looking at Errol Spence as fans, like, okay, this dude might be nice if he in there rocking with Floyd. So cool conversation pieces. Again, I wasn't there for the sparring. Interesting thing that they did say is that this sparring session, a couple people have it. So there are people in this world who have this sparring session. Devin Haney said some of them, you know, they can't really release the footage. They're hiding the footage or whatever, but he's trying to come up on the footage because this would have been some odd years ago. That footage is probably definitely worth money. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy because I have footage with Devin Haney sparring. It wasn't against a Tank Davis or anything, but out here in the Bay. But, you know, for what happens in the gym stays in the gym, and people got to protect their brands and stuff like that. You can't just be going around leaking sparring. But they said they're trying to get their hands on the sparring tape. Again, it doesn't really mean anything in today's world what did or didn't happen a couple years ago, but I know a lot of people would want to see that particular sparring. You know, so that's really it. Teofimo and Gervonta got a sparring session that was recorded. Rolly got one with Ryan Garcia. You know, so people are gonna be curious at the end of the day. They're gonna be curious about it. But it's interesting just hearing the retelling from Devin Haney's account. And one thing he did say that, you know, at least he was keeping it a buck, is he said he had previously sparred Tank Davis before and he got touched up. So he's basically, if this story is true, he's basically saying that they're 1 for 1, basically. You know, that's what it sounded like to me. You know, that could just be my interpretation, but he says he had already had experience sparring with Tank. So, you know, that's the nature of sparring. Sometimes you get the best of it. Sometimes you don't get the best of it. It is what it is. I'm curious to see if Gervonta Tank Davis will even respond to it or if he even cares. You know, he's done a lot in his career since that point. He just knocked out Leo Santa Cruz. I gave Tank the knockout of the year. I think when, like, some people look at Ivan Baranchuk and Zepeda, I will never put that as a knockout of the year over a Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz, because when I'm doing these little ratings and rankings, I also go off of, you know, one thing, I have integrity. So I also go off the meaningfulness of the actual bout. And some fights we know represent a lot more of a level of respect based on the matchup. Leo Santa Cruz, people keep making it sound like he was this small featherweight and had no chance. He was doing good, bro. He up until the knockout, you could say he gave Tank probably the most problems out of anyone. And I had Tank winning the fight even before the knockout, but there was a mouse forming under his eye. Leo Santa Cruz did not come to lie down. He has a ton of experience. 2 fights with Abner Mares, 2 fights with Carl Frampton, moved through different divisions, fought on big cards, main evented, you know. So Leo was sharp. He looked like he was in some of the best shape of his career. It just so happens that boy Gervonta from Baltimore, he hitting different. That punching power is a mug, you know. So he got spilled at the end, but it was a good fight. So to me, Tank has the knockout of the year because I also, like I said, I factor in as much data as I can. Just like Derek James is the trainer of the year. Yeah, there's other great trainers. Teofimo Lopez Pops did good, did right by his son. You know, Canelo's trainer is a beast, Eddie Reynoso. But Derek James, he helped nurture and mentally get his fighter back in the mix and back in the game after a horrific car accident. That takes something. That's a mental battle, you know. And then physically, he prepared his fighter and got Errol Spence ready to dominate Danny Garcia, which he did, and he kept his titles in a unification. Same thing with Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo knocked out Jason Rosario to unify. You got to get this man his props. So my list is different. Tank has the knockout of the year. Again, you know, eventually I think we'll get all these lightweights end up battling at some point. There's some different promotional entities and landscapes and sides of the street that'll probably prevent it immediately. But you have Ryan Garcia. Listen, I like all this new crop of fighters. Rolly, that's my guy. You know, Ryan Garcia is a beast. Tank, Devin Haney, Teofimo, I like all of them. You know, I like Javier Fortuna. The lightweights is really popping. You know, in or around that division, 130, 135, is really popping. Shakur Stevenson, the way he looks, like physically, I could see him moving up at some point. I don't think he was really a true featherweight. And you're seeing, like, he even has like little stretch marks on his arm. He's getting big, you know. I have pictures with Shakur Stevenson when he was younger, and he probably don't even remember it, but he was a lot smaller. Now you see his shoulders filling out, he getting wider, he getting more confident, he feeling himself, you know what I'm saying? So I really like all this whole young crop of fighters. And one thing I do like about them is they all seem kind of about it and down to fight each other. You know, some of it is clout chasing, like Ryan Garcia, he's pre-planning to call out Tank if he beats Luke Campbell. I think he has to focus on Luke Campbell. That's still an Olympic gold medalist. It's a step up, step in the right direction. If he wins sensationally, that's cool, but I wouldn't really be planning to call out Tank and things like that. But you guys could see that Gervonta Tank Davis and Mayweather Promotions, they've obviously done a great job in Tank's career. And Tank's done a great job with his career because he's looking like the A side. I know Teofimo said he's the A side. Ryan thinks he's the A side, et cetera, et cetera. But everybody in or around the division is talking about Tank. Ryan Garcia, he about to fight this weekend against somebody not named Tank, Luke Campbell. You know, solid fight. And he's talking about how he plans on taking the opportunity to call out Tank. Then you have Devin Haney, who's on a podcast, and he's talking about his sparring session with Tank from probably a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, maybe. Then you have, you know, Tank's name just kind of constantly Rolly and Tank. I've heard Rolly say some things, and then Rolly's going in on Devin Haney. You know, it's just Tank's name is always in the conversation. Lomachenko, that's another person. How can I forget? He just did an interview with Snow Queen LA, and it's an exclusive interview. He said out of all the names at lightweight, he said he plans on staying at lightweight pretty much. Out of all the names at lightweight, the person that he wants to fight the most, his priority, hoping it can get done, is Gervonta Tank Davis. So Tank Davis, you know, he has a lot of pressure. A lot of people are linking their names to him and stuff like that. So he got to be the A side. Like Teofimo, he did a great thing versus Lomachenko, but Lomachenko, he said he'll fight Teofimo, but he just told you in an exclusive interview that he really wants to fight against Gervonta Davis. That's what he said. That's not my opinion. So a 2-time Olympic gold medalist calling out Tank, so he must be bubbling. Everybody's talking about Tank. But as far as Devin Haney in the sparring, you know, I would love to see it. Obviously, it's probably buried somewhere, or you know, I don't know if it'll ever resurface. Devin Haney said he caught one of the AB's video camera dude in traffic, and the guy said he still had it. So who knows? You know, people aren't at liberty to release it. We don't know what's going to happen to that. But very interesting story from Devin Haney and his dad, Bill Haney. They said that they won money. See, I've heard this story just from being in boxing circles. So I heard this story, but I didn't hear, you know, sometimes when you hear a story being told over and over, depending on who it's coming from, you hear more and more details. And that's what I got here. So I didn't know about Adrien Broner's pops and somebody else, Levi, Coach Levi, betting money and Devin Haney's dad winning money on the sparring session. So Devin Haney's point in this video, he basically said that goes to show you that the consensus was that I beat Gervonta Tank Davis or got the best of it because they weren't going to release money and currency and deem me the winner if I didn't really win. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason we would have won the money. So obviously there's no judging in sparring per se, but your peers are going to be the ultimate judges, the people watching it. So he said we had to be the victor based on us winning money and the impression, because Broner brought Gervonta to Mayweather. A lot of people don't know that. Broner brought Tank around Mayweather to later get signed by Mayweather Promotions. So if Adrien Broner's dad paid a debt based on a bet and paid Bill Haney and Devin Haney for the sparring, then that does mean, if it's true, you know, and I have to say this because I wasn't there. I'm not doubting the story or whatever, but I'm just saying I wasn't there. So if they paid him, then the person who brought Gervonta around the Mayweather gym was in agreement that Devin Haney got the best of that session. Again, does that mean anything in 2021? You know, it's New Year's. It's about to be 2021. It doesn't. But interesting story. Catch Gilly the Kid and Wallow. They got a great podcast, $1 million worth of game, and they're going to run the full episode tonight. So I'll link to his page in the description. Make sure you guys give that a listen to when it drops, the full thing in its entirety. Also use my link, ESPN Plus. They have a ton of original content, docuseries, documentaries, archive footage of fights, and more. As a standalone app, ESPN Plus is $5.99, or you can get the bundle for $12.99, which includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all three apps for one low price, again, of $12.99. It does help the channel. I'm an independent creator, so it helps, you know, do housekeeping and upgrades for the channel. Let me know what you guys think. Devin Haney said he made Gervonta Tank Davis quit in a previous sparring. Do you believe it? Do you disbelieve it? Have you seen the tape? If anybody has seen the tape, let me know in the comment section. I'm curious if anybody has seen the tape or was there for it, you know, because we could have a sidebar conversation. Holla, let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.